Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jana and today we are off to wrap up January. Okay, so I figured with January we'll wrap up my reading and I'll just get ready for my day and we'll just chill and talk. So hopefully it's a relaxing thing for you. Hopefully you'll get ready with me. So I read 10 books in January, which I'm very proud of. But we're not going to talk about all of them today because there's some different things that I did. First thing, 2 of them are for a secret TBR. And therefore, I won't be talking about those. Those will go into my back pocket and you'll hear my thoughts on those in a video coming out next week. If you follow me on Goodreads or Storygraph, which I will link below in the description, you can probably figure out what that video is, but I'm not going to spoil it here on my channel just yet. So those 2 out of it. There's another 4. So 4 of them were for my lovely trying the new things at the library. So if you haven't seen that, that is already up. That is actually up on my channel, has been live for a little while. I'll link it in the cards and down in the description, so you can go check that out if you're interested. You can find out my views on those books. I found a 5-star, a 4.5-star. Overall, it was super successful. Yeah, I had a really good time with those books. It was an interesting experiment, so definitely go check that out if you're interested. Okay, that leaves us with 4 other books. So, and they range from a 5-star to a DNF. I know, it was a crazy month. So I don't usually DNF books. That's like not usually my MO. I tend to like push through it, but it was bad. I struggled with it a lot. But that's the last book we're going to talk about. We'll talk about it in the order that I read them. So first, I read Shanghai Girls, which was a 2-star read. It took me forever to get through. It was about a very sad topic. So it's set in 1937, and it's about girls in Shanghai. And then it talks about, and then they go through the Japanese invasion of China and Shanghai, which I didn't even know was a thing. I'm American, so we rarely learn about like really good world history. Like we rarely have a good world history perspective. It's usually all rooted in what we do. So I had no idea that Japan was at war right before World War II with China and continued to conquer parts of China throughout World War II. Should have totally known that. I've done research in my older life, not just like past what I learned in school, but didn't know about that one. So that was a very interesting thing to learn about. But the actual writing of the book, I feel like didn't actually do justice to those that would have been in that situation. So it was supposed to be like powerful, impactful, like about this crazy happening that like you wouldn't believe, and then these fictional characters are like trying to figure out their life and their new life in America, and America's racist, we all know that, but it was strangely, like, it was so disappointing from the fact that it was like, oh, I feel sad. Okay, great. Give me more information. Like, this woman goes through some intense stuff. And I just don't believe the feelings. Like, I just don't believe, like, somebody that lived through a war. It's one thing, like, if it was not something that we were, like, privy to, like, we're not in her head. But we're literally in her head, like, the main character's head. And she goes through this like crazy stuff, like she's in love with this guy, she's a beautiful girl in Shanghai, so she's like cigarette advertisements and stuff like that, and then she like goes to America and she's nothing and she can't get out of like Angel Island, stuff like that. crazy stuff. Even crazier when she's escaping the Japanese. Like, it's insane. I don't believe how she feels. Like, I don't believe it. It doesn't sell it in her actions. It doesn't sell it in her words. And like, one of the things is like, that's a theme throughout the book is like, Chinese are very like closed off and aren't very like into emotions. And it's like, fine, that's fine. Except for the fact that we're in your head. If we're in your head, I feel like we should be able to like see your emotions, because you have them whether you act on them or not. So it's usually like after the fact that she's like, oh, that made me feel sad. And there's these weird add-ins that are like how naive I was, like from the future, which doesn't make any sense at all at the time, because you're like in present day. So it doesn't make any sense why she would like write back and be like, oh, I was so dumb. Worse stuff is gonna happen. And it's like, no, you can be upset about that thing at that time. It was just super emotionally immature and I didn't like it. As you can tell, it gave me a lot of feelings. So next, I read Four Dead Queens. Oh my God. I love that book. I love that book. That was amazing. It was a wonderful, it's very much, I mean, I think it's very much YA. It's very much YA, and things are very convenient, things like that, to wrap it up in a standalone. But I find that to be something that YA just does. Like, I think that's just how YA works in my mind, so it didn't bother me at all. And there's a sapphic romance in it, and I loved the main character, and I didn't really expect the twist. Not because it was like ridiculously, like I expected the twist when I got more than halfway through the book, but I didn't expect the twist because it's YA. Like, it was a fairly sophisticated twist for a YA fantasy, and it's just so good. And I love the different perspectives. I love that it doesn't shy away from death, because I mean, obviously Four Dead Queens, like obviously it's not gonna shy away from death, but like some YAs do that where they're like, you know what, I know we said death in the title and in the description, but I don't think we're gonna have any. Or like, oh, the magic brings them all back. That's not what happens in this book, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the actual consequences of actions. That was great. So I gave it a 5-star. I gave it 5 stars. Is it 5 stars like from an adult 25-year-old me? No. Is it 5-star from 17-year-old me where it's aimed at, and who would have like lost her mind over this book, which I kind of did because of the nostalgia factor. Oh yeah, 5-star completely for what it is. And that's how I rate, is I rate based on what it is. And in this case, like, is it the most sophisticated writing? No. Is the plotline perfect? No. Are the characters the best characters I've ever read? No. Did it make me feel giddy and happy and I loved it so much and I gushed about it? Yes. Therefore, it gets a 5 stars. It gives it 5 stars because I still want to talk about it and I still think about it now. Next one. Ooh, this one made me mad. The next one is Heart So Fierce and Broken. Why did no one tell me? Why did no one tell me? So here's the thing. These are, I'm gonna pop up spoiler on the screen right now. This is a spoiler. If you have not read this book up to this point, do not watch this. If you want to read these books, A Curse So Dark and Lonely and A Heart So Fierce and Broken, do not. Sorry, there's a plow outside, it's distracting me. Do not watch this. Oh, Red makes me so mad. Like, so mad. And I thought I couldn't like him any less. Like, I didn't like that Harper picked him. I was not a fan. I did not like him. I thought he was creepy and weird, and I didn't like him. It turns out I was right. Turns out I was right, and he's a betraying jerk, and I don't like him. And Gray is the greatest thing ever, and I was like, an honest critique is the fact that we didn't get enough Harper in this, and that Lyra Mira, though I ended up loving her perspective, it was hard to get into her perspective, like at first, like the first when they first introduced her, because I wasn't expecting that. Like, I didn't expect that Harper wasn't going to be the perspective we followed. Which I still wish we had Harper's perspective from back at the castle. Like, so bad. So bad. I think it could have been a longer book, and you could have, like, Bridget Kemmerer could have put Harper's perspective back at the thing. I don't need Ren's perspective, okay? Don't need Ren at all, ever again. The ending. How could he? How could he? Gray is his brother, and he trusted him. And now all of a sudden, also the character development in this, though, was wonderful. So it ended up, I think I gave it a 4, but like a 4.5. Because I did have some honest critiques, like not enough Harper. I wasn't really expecting that, and getting into Lyra Mira was hard. But in the end, I ended up loving her character. I shipped that so hard. Okay, end of spoilers. End of spoilers. I'll put it up on this. Okay, sorry. I had to vent about that one. Oof. Oof. Okay, the last book. People are gonna get mad at me for this, I think. The last book I read is the one I DNF'd, which was Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. I know, don't hate me. Okay, so I know this is like an award-winning book. Everybody loves it. Okay, but I got 200 pages in, and I just couldn't. My mental health couldn't. My brain couldn't. Like, I couldn't. So I know it's supposed to be. I know it's supposed to be like based on the blurbs and stuff like that. It's supposed to be this hope-bringing story. It's supposed to be this overcoming adversity story, all this stuff, which is wonderful if it actually felt like that. I tried the audiobook and the physical copy, and I hated it. I hated it because it just, A, makes you feel so sad and so hopeless in the fact that, like, there's this kid and he's just trying to, like, be close to his dad, and he's being, I mean, I think part of it is he's being so mean to his mom, and I can't with that. Like, my recording stopped. Okay, let's go back to what I was saying about Incredibly Loud, Extremely Close, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. So, it just makes me sad, honestly. Like, that's why I DNF'd it. That's why I, like, couldn't do it. It, like, he's mean to his mom, which I totally get. Like, grief makes you mean. Like, totally understand that. Here's the thing. I'm a new mom. I couldn't handle that. Like, hi, baby girl. My baby is telling me that she knows that I'm a mom. So I'm a new mom, and that, like, destroyed me. Literally destroyed me. And then in addition to that, like, this kid, I mean, he just keeps getting, like, I don't know how anybody's brain works that fast. I don't understand how anybody's brain could work that fast. And if it does, I feel so bad because, like, just keeping up with it is like trying to keep confetti in the air. And then in addition, he's, like, dealing with grief, and he's 9, and, like, some of the things he says are, like, very 9-year-old, which, like, is awesome. Like, that's what it's supposed to be. Some of the things he says, though, are thoroughly adult. Thoroughly adult, and there's no way in heck that a 9-year-old would say that. Just wouldn't. Just doesn't have the sophistication. Like, I understand that he's supposed to be, like, this strange boy who has, like, sophistication beyond his years and stuff. It doesn't match up all the way through. It only sort of does. Like, it doesn't actually, like, match up all the way through the book. And I was just not impressed, and it just made me sad. It made me feel like, what's the point of living? There's not one. That's what it made me feel like. Like, it literally, oh my goodness. Literally made me feel like that. It made me feel like, okay, well, I guess I'm done here. Like, it just was insanely sad. in the fact that every time you did anything, it was pointless and there was just always disappointment at the end of the road. And I'm sure that changes in the end, but the book's too long for that. The book is too long for you to get all the way through it before you get that like closure. It just is. It just is. So that's my opinion on that. I was not impressed. But like I said, I did have a pretty good reading month. Like, honestly, it was pretty good. All right, I'm gonna throw on, gosh, this blush is crazy. I'm gonna fix that, throw on my lipstick, and I'll be right back. All right, there we go, the finished makeup look, and we've talked about all of the books that I read in January. I hope you had just a relaxing time. I hope you got ready with me. Comment down below what you read in February, or January, it's February now, in January, what your favorite book was. Follow me on Goodreads or Storygraph. I'd love to see what you guys are reading. And yeah, I'll see. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you later. Bye.